Hey guys, welcome back to this place, and if you are new, then welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen.
I'm Calvin.
And we are watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, Season 1, Episode 11. And yeah, what happened in the last episode? Do you remember? I do. It was Jet.
I should be asking you that question.
True. It was Jet, and he was, not the best guy in the world. He was kind of shitty and manipulative, and he was trying to kill a bunch of people. He was trying to kill the Fire Nation people, but I don't know why I did that. Anyway, but
I think we all call them Fire Nation people.
Right. But he
was trying to attack the Fire Nation soldiers that were occupying a Earth Kingdom village.
Yes. He was willing to sacrifice the Earth Nation village in order to kill the Fire Nation soldiers, which obviously is not a great thing. Luckily, Sokka was able to get to the Earth village in time because he was very skeptical of Jet and Katara. What?
You keep looking down when you're talking.
Oh, I was just thinking. And Katara, now you fucked me up.
She froze him to a tree.
Yeah, she was under his spell, and she was not really willing to accept that he was a bad guy because she had a little bit of a crush, and she's very young. And luckily...
And she had a little bit of a rivalry with her brother,
Yeah.
He had taken them through some bad times in the past of, trusting his instincts and all that stuff.
True. But luckily she became disillusioned, she literally saw that he was going to blow up the thing. She didn't, she had to see it to believe it kind of thing. And then she froze him and was like, peace out, fucker. And then that's kind of, let's just get into this one and see where we go from here.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you forgetting the tarp?
Right, got it.
Sokka, you're supposed to put the tarp on top of the tent.
For water.
So we don't get rained on.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, you'd be right. But seeing how it's the dry season, you're not.
You're infuriating! Well, if you don't like my firewood...
Fine by me, if you're not gonna do your job.
Oh, God.
Okay, I get the grub if you guys get the... Hey, where's the campfire? And what happened to the tent?
Oh. Aww. There you go.
Come on, Momo,
Well, your
that's
piece
fair.
needs to be
Appa's
smaller.
got 5 stomachs.
Yeah. He's way bigger. He has
got
to
5
have a
stomachs.
bigger piece. Yeah.
Hey, if you're looking for the canyon guide, I was here first.
How did this guy... Where did he come from?
Canyon guide. Sounds informative.
What's up, canyon guy?
Sorry about the wait, youngsters.
I was here first. My party's on their way.
I can't guide people who aren't here.
Guess you guys will have to make the trip tomorrow.
Wait, here they come.
Like the elves.
You're not seriously gonna
What
cave
ranks?
into these spoiled Ganjins?
They're
I mean, we're refugees too. And we've got sick people that need shelter.
Can you just guide them both at the
We've
same
got
time?
old people who are weary from traveling.
Maybe you Zhans wouldn't have so many sick people if you weren't such slobs.
If you Ganjins weren't so clean, maybe you wouldn't live to be so old.
I could
That's
smell you.
literally not an insult.
Your peacemaking skill. This is the Avatar. And if you give him a chance, I'm sure he can come up with a compromise that will make everyone happy.
Just both go at the same time.
You could share the Earthbender and travel together?
Absolutely not.
All right, here's the deal. You're all going down together, and Appa here will fly your sick and elderly across.
He's like a dad. Like, I'll pull this car over. You should do this. Oh, that's
Nice
why.
bending.
These cats are going crazy. I'm sure y'all hear that. I'm sorry.
They can't not.
Yeah.
This canyon was most likely carved into the ground by earth spirits who were angry at local farmers for not offering them a proper sacrifice.
Oh, dang. Look at Momo. He's so cute. Oh.
giants are still angry. Hope you all brought sacrifices. We'll be safe now.
No, there's a giant spider thing.
Hey, now we gotta help me!
That thing is ridiculous.
What was that?
Canyon crawler. Oh,
Your arms, they're broken.
What?
without my arms, I got no bending.
We're trapped in this canyon.
No, he's got plenty of bending.
No bending. We need to get out of this canyon. I won't die down here. I won't become part of the food chain.
See?
All
We're
right,
going to
he's
become
having a
part of the
breakdown.
food chain because of you.
Sure, unjustly blame the Zhangs like you always do.
We should split up. Ganjin's on this side and Zhang's on that side. We'll travel in 2 separate lines.
So, you guys aren't gonna put up your tarps?
What for? It's the dry season.
Exactly!
Besides, we like to use the tarp as a blanket.
Finally, someone gets it.
You really think it'll rain?
No, but you can never be too careful, right?
I saw this parallel already, but it's just funny how they did have food.
Would you care for some bread, Katara?
So it was you guys who had food.
Oh, come now. You really think that tribe of thieves isn't smuggling food?
Well,
I
I
mean, they
guess
might
it's
not
okay
be.
if everyone's doing it.
That's not a good attitude to have, hun.
No.
You seem like a smart girl, Katara. I bet you would enjoy hearing some history.
Is it going to be history, or is it going to be a one-sided narrative of, you know?
Well,
Patriarch of
I mean,
our
history
tribe,
is written by the
Jin Wei,
victors.
was an earthbender warrior who was assigned an important duty, transporting our sacred ore from the Great Eastern Gate to the Great Western Gate. But as he approached the gate, Jin Wei was attacked by one of the Zhang, a vermin named Wei Jin, who looked at the orb with
Jin Wei.
envy.
Wei Jin.
That coward Wei Jin knocked Jin Wei to the ground and stole our sacred orb.
Don't be so quick to believe one
Care
side
for
of the
some meat?
story.
Would
Ah.
I?
No judgments whatsoever on his part.
Horrible for endangering everybody by bringing food down here. If the Ganjin think so badly of us, they probably assumed we brought food in and decided to bring food in themselves. That's why we brought food in. Our conflict.
She was probably going to be somewhere in the middle
Our
of this.
forefather, Wei Jin, was leaving the western gate of our village when he saw a figure in the distance. It was a man of the Ganjin tribe.
I like how
Jin Wei
the animation's
collapsed on the
different
ground.
as well.
Noble Wei Jin stopped to help him. Jin Wei insisted the orb was more important and asked him to take it back to his tribe. But as Wei Jin crossed the border to return the orb into Ganjin territory, he was arrested. Instead of thanking him for his kind and selfless deed, they sentenced him to 20 long years in prison.
How many times do I have to say it? Harsh words won't solve problems. Action will.
Perhaps the Avatar is right.
I was like, that's
perhaps
maybe
he
not the
is.
best thing to say at this moment. No, why are you? Don't.
Harsh words will never solve our problems.
They're gonna start fighting
Action
physically.
will.
Aang has had enough.
Food? Everyone smuggled food down here? Unbelievable! You are all awful! So hungry. Is that egg custard in that tart?
That's so many more.
Yeah.
They're coming back for me. They've had a taste, and they're coming back for me.
Sokka, wait.
Poor guy.
I
Guys,
don't
he's
care
on the
about this
verge.
stupid
He's
He'll
just
break
trying to make
down.
it to
I just want
retirement.
us to get out of here alive.
Me too. I only took their side because they fed me.
Everybody, watch me do what I do!
Ah, then they can use them to climb to the top. Hey, working together.
Now follow me. We're riding out of this hole.
They're like. Could have taken those things off their
I
mouths.
never thought a Ganjin could get his hands dirty like that.
And I never knew you Zhangs were so reliable in a pinch.
Perhaps we're not so different after all.
Too bad we can't rewrite history. You thieves stole our sacred orb from Jin Wei.
You tyrants unjustly imprisoned Wei Jin.
Jin Wei? Wei Jin? I know those guys.
Yes, we're all aware of the story.
100-year.
No, I mean, I
He
really
would have been
know
alive
them.
then.
I might not look it, but I'm 112 years old. I was there 100 years ago on the day you're talking about. They were brothers. Twins, in fact. And they were 8. And most importantly, they were just playing a game.
They were 8.
The sacred orb from the legend, that was the ball. And the eastern and western gates were the goalposts.
You're saying the sacred orb was actually a sacred ball?
Nope, just a regular ball. Don't get me wrong, Wei Jin was kind of a slob, and Jin Wei was a little stuffy. That much is true. But they respected each other's differences enough to share the same playing field.
I suppose it's time we forget the past.
And look to the future.
Good to see you,
I wonder
boy.
how the story
Did you
got
miss
so
me?
twisted.
I cannot thank you enough, Avatar.
Jin Wei and Wei Jin.
Well, you know, I try.
He was covering his flower.
I'm going too. I'm sick of this place.
That's some luck you knew Jin Wei.
He's
and
like,
Wei Jin.
fuck this
You
shit.
could call
Right.
it luck, or you could call it lying.
Uh-huh.
I made the whole thing up.
You did not.
So I thought it was cool how they used the Shang, and the Ganjin tribes.
It's right there. You can read it.
I know, but I can't pronounce it still. But I thought it was cool how they used like their differences and their bickering to parallel Sokka and Katara's kind of bickering, you know, and like Aang is just stuck in the middle and he's like so tired of it that like at the end he just lies because he's like, you know what, like this is the only way that they're gonna move past this. Although I am curious as to what the actual truth of the story is, because obviously the Ganjin Jin Wei had a different version of whatever happened than Wei Jin did back then. So usually the truth is somewhere in the middle of two stories about what happened, and so I'm curious as to exactly what happened and what their relationship was to each other, because even though Aang said they were twins, you know, that was just a story he made up to get them to stop fighting, right?
Yep.
I'm curious as to what the truth of these two tribes and where their actual animosity began 100 years ago, and like what really happened then, and if it was even two different people, because it kind of sounds like it was the same person. Like, you know, like they worship different, or not worship, but they
Revered
have,
different people.
or different versions of the same story.
A lot of people don't like this episode.
Really?
Like, overwhelmingly.
Really?
People hate this episode.
Actually, I like this one. Did you hate it?
I didn't hate it. I didn't know that it was hated until, honestly, I watched it.
These cats, oh y'all, they're going crazy. All right, you said you didn't know.
I didn't know that this was such a detested episode before I took Blind Wave through.
Did they dislike it?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
But there was such intense hate from the comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do remember now, which I wasn't thinking about, that when somebody in the comments said something about people not liking that one episode, it was like 3 or 4 or something, and then they were like, but it's not as bad as, like, I think they did say 11 now that I think about it, but like, I honestly liked it. Like, I don't know, like it was a one-off. It doesn't really have a lot to do with the overall story, maybe, so maybe that's why people don't like it. I don't know.
I mean, they think of it, it's a filler episode, that it doesn't really advance the storyline at all.
Yeah, but I think filler episodes have
in this case, like,
merit.
Aang is learning how to deal with people that have a lot of differences.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, like,
And
it may not be the plot that they want to see, but this is just him growing as an avatar, learning how to settle differences
and I think
of opinion and such.
I think it's important to understand that sometimes there's so much bad blood and history between people that it's not going to work, you know? Like, unlike Katara and Sokka, who are just siblings, so of course they're going to fight and disagree and then get over it at some point. These people weren't able to just be like, oh yeah, like, let's just get over it, because
Let's just do other things and not think about it.
Yeah, even when they worked together and they realized, like, hey, we can actually work together. We could be friends. They're like, yeah, but I'm supposed to hate you because I was raised that your ancestor did this to my ancestor, so fuck you, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Or like Romeo and Juliet's families, right? The Montagues and the Capulets. That's what I was thinking of when I was watching it. I don't know. I thought it was good. Like, it wasn't plot-centric. It wasn't advancing the plot. We didn't see Uncle Iroh. We didn't see Zuko. We didn't see really any Fire Nation people. So I can understand maybe people like who are like, ooh, plot. But I have always been a character-driven person, right? So the plot only matters to me insofar as it can tell me something about the characters. It can illuminate the characters. It can further the characters' stories. So maybe that's why I liked it, because it still furthered the characters' stories. It still gave me more insight into the characters.
The only thing that I could see that I don't really like about the episode is that the Avatar, seeing two wrongs and feeling as though they were not reconcilable, decided to lie. Thus, a third wrong making two wrongs right. You know what I mean?
Like, two wrongs don't make a right, but like three wrongs also don't make a right.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
So I can get it from that perspective, but that's not normally the way people approach this episode.
Yeah, and I can understand if people didn't like it, because there's not a lot of nuance to these people's arguments, right? Like, it seems like they should be able to just sit down and have a conversation and hash it out, you know? But I will say that, I don't know, I think that Avatar does have really big ideas and, like, very complicated adult ideas, but they're presented in a simpler way, oftentimes. So the fact that there's not a lot of nuance to these people's arguments, these tribes' arguments, doesn't really bother me, because I understand the audience that it's intended for.
Yeah.
And
it's supposed to be like young adults,
Yeah.
kids, you know.
Exactly. Like, I do wish that Aang could have found a way to make them agree without having to lie to them and create this entire story. And I do think that if they had just thought a little bit harder about the story he was telling, they might have realized that, like, it still doesn't really add up, because, well, then where did we get this story from, and what was the motivation for this person telling this story, and, like, I don't know, you know, there's, like, inconsistencies, but...
Yeah. Like you said, it's complicated themes with very simplified presentation.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't bother me in that way. I don't know. Like I said, I just kind of see it as a fun one-off episode, and we'll get more into plot-heavy things later. And I honestly kind of enjoy episodes that are just kind of fun little one-offs, especially if a show has very serious themes, because, like, the last episode made me cry a little bit, you know, like the little girl and her doll, and thinking that this whole village could have gotten, you know, destroyed because this one guy hated the Fire Nation enough that he was willing to sacrifice all these innocent people to try to destroy them.
Thus perpetuating the destruction
Yeah.
that created him.
Exactly. So even though Avatar is a fun show in general, like, last episode I feel was a bit more heavy, and it had lots of...
It has some deep, dark moments.
Yeah. Because it was... Even though on the surface it's cute, it's like, you know, it's the Lost Boys, they're in Neverland kind of thing. It's actually a bunch of orphans whose families have been murdered, living in trees with another child leading them down a path that could be very bad. So it's actually quite dark if you think about it. So to have, like, a little fun episode after that, I think is okay.
Yeah. The leader of the Ganjin tribe.
Renee.
Yeah. Auberginois, I think.
Sounds French.
Pronounced, but he's actually in Stargate.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I was almost like, I didn't recognize him. Who was he in?
Remember the episode where they went to that planet they were... I can stop if you got it from that.
No, keep going.
Okay. Where they met the super advanced society and they were going to give them technology in exchange for heavy water. He was the leader.
Oh.
You recognize his voice?
I haven't seen it enough to recognize his voice.
I can show you his face.
Yeah. Also, spoiler alert if you haven't seen SG-1. That's not really a huge spoiler, though. Okay.
Yeah.
100%. I do remember him now. I might cut out what I just said because spoilers, but...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, that's some Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I was like, that's definitely Star Trek.
Yeah.
I can just tell.
But that's him from...
Okay. I 100% remember his face.
Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. I missed Appa. He wasn't really in this episode a lot.
No, he wasn't in a whole lot. He was
his
in the
little
beginning.
Toes like this. So cute. Just so cute. Like, I'd never noticed his little feet, the way he stands with his little toes. Like,
He like Nimoy.
Mm-hmm.
Except she goes out like this.
Yeah, she like...
Because her little legs short. She walks like this.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what were you saying before
Nope.
I interrupted?
Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I don't have anything else about this episode. I enjoyed it. There's not a lot to dive into again because it doesn't really further the plot a lot, but I enjoyed it as a one-off episode. I did. I think that is all that we have to say about this episode, everybody. As always, let us know what you thought in the comments down below. If you also hated this episode, like apparently a majority of people do, or if you were like, yeah, it is what it is, and for what it is, it's alright. That's it. See you next time. Until then, bye guys.